Jason here. It's been a while since I've done a vlog. I had a lot going on. I haven't posted much on the channel in the last couple years. I've been dealing with everybody knows I have the Crohn's disease, and everybody knows I have a lot of medical stuff that I deal with. I'm on disability. I've been on disability for years, and turns out I have a disease that I didn't know I had, that I've had since I was probably 13. Sorry, I have bad allergies. I always have bad allergies. Anyway, I guess living in the largest farming community in the country doesn't help. I live in the Central Valley, where they produce like 70 to 80% of the country's produce here in California. But, sorry. So, anyway, it's a disease called hidradenitis suppurativa. And what it is it's a sweat gland disease, and it gets in the sweat glands of your crotch and your armpits. I don't get it in my armpits, thank goodness. Knock on wood. But I definitely get it in my crotch, and I have a whole bunch of... And what happens is hair follicles get infected, and then they cause these big giant blood blisters, and it's like the 5th most painful disease in the world, is what I've read online. And I've had it since I was about 13. I didn't know I had it. A lot of people think it's just acne, but it causes these blood blisters that'll sit there for like 2 months and cause a lot of pain. And when you're younger, you just think it's blisters. I remember as a kid asking about herpes a lot, even though I'd never had sex. I was like 13. And then all the other kids were like, he's probably got it, because, kids are so kind. But, anyway, oh, excuse me. So, I basically, that's what I have, and it's gone to, like, stage 3. And now I have a big open wound that I sit on, which is about, it's not the size of my hand, but it's about yay big, a little bit shorter. And it's about that shape. And so I see a wound doctor every 2 weeks. And for the last 2 years, we've been trying to figure out what to do with it. And it's real painful. And I have to take 3 showers a day to clean it. And I go through 3 pairs of underwear a day. And my wonderful wife, she washes them for me every week. And I go through like 21 pairs of underwear a week, at least. Sometimes I have to do 4 a day, because if I'm going out and I want to make sure everything's clean and dry as possible if I go out to the movies or dinner or something. Also, last year I ended up gaining a ton of weight. I've taken most of it off. I ended up getting up to 403 pounds, and I was over 400 for about 2 months and before I dropped it. So I wasn't there for very long. I'm at 351 right now, and I've had a couple yo-yos over since last year. I was going to have surgery. They were going to do the bariatric sleeve on me, and I decided not to do it because I didn't trust the doctor. And so I decided, I had lost like 64 pounds. I was down to 339 when I was going to have the surgery. And I decided, I figured if I can drop it on my own that way, I can, lose the rest on my own. I've done it before. I did it back in like 2011. I got down to 250 from 374. And 250 is not a bad weight for me. Because I'm just under 6 feet. I'm like 5'11 and a half. And I have a real big frame, so my body tends to fit really well at around 250. And I could go a little lower, I'm sure, but yeah, I was at 250, and I looked pretty thin. And then after my surgery back in 2011, I got down to 216 after the surgery, and my face was sunken in, and my ribs were sticking out. I had a 6-pack, saggy skin. It was pretty bad. I looked pretty sickly. So I don't do that. So at 250, everybody said I looked pretty good at 250. I looked healthy, and I was pretty trim. I wasn't skinny, but I don't know if I'll ever be super skinny. It's just when you're a big guy, you always have a little bit of a big guy frame on you. But yeah, it's hard to walk. It's hard to sit. Like I'm sitting now in the kitchen chair, and it's an office chair we keep in the kitchen, and it's kind of uncomfortable. I'm hurting right now, but and I'm gonna make dinner here in a little bit, and so yeah, that's what I've been doing. As far as gaming stuff, I've been playing a lot of stuff. My friend Cody got me EverDrive for my Super Nintendo and my Genesis, and I played the EverDrive for the Genesis for a little while. I have a story. I'm gonna actually do a story. I want to do like gaming stories for the channel. So I'm gonna save the story because I want to show you guys this Genesis I got, and there's a story behind it. So, but I tried the EverDrive on it, and it was pretty good. And so I've been using my Super Nintendo EverDrive, and I went ahead and played through Super Metroid again, and I've been playing Dr. Mario a lot. I'm real good at Dr. Mario. Here's a quick little gaming story I'll give you. Back in around 2007 to 2009, I used to hang out at my friend Jay's house a lot. And at the time, Jay was he lived in his mom's house, but his mom was like in Arizona, and this is back in Las Vegas. So he had like 3 roommates that rented out the room, and he took the master bedroom. So it was like the hangout for everybody. And we took my Super Nintendo over there, and I started playing Tetris, and it was the Tetris Dr. Mario cart I had, and then we had like people would bring other carts over that they had, and we'd play and drink beer and hang out and have fun. But everybody wanted to challenge me at Dr. Mario and Tetris because I was so good at it. And like just to play, I'd go to level 20 against the computer, and I just sit there and just play against the computer, and I beat the computer over and over again. and you know, and I'm real good at because if you get two I don't know what they call them, whatever, the Dr. Mario, the pills, you get 2 in a row on one play, and it like drops little half pills on the other player. So you have to kind of stuff them up, and it's kind of like a war, attack thing. Just like in Tetris, when you get any kind of Tetris, where you clear a line, if you get more than one, it'll drop them on the other player. And we sit there and have battles, and I used to get sick of it because I keep beating people. One of my friends, Ariana, she kept playing, and she would get mad. I'd start letting her win, and she knew I was letting her win. And I'm like, oh, I screwed up. And she's like, you picked that controller up. I know you let me win because I didn't want to play anymore because we'd already played like 20 games, 25 games. And I wanted to go do something else. And she's like, you're going to keep playing until I beat you. And oh, I don't even remember how it ended. But yeah, she caught on to me. I was letting her win. And she was getting mad at me. It's pretty funny because they couldn't beat me. And there's this other girl that lived in the house. And she was talking all this Tetris crap, how she could get 1,000 lines or 100 lines or something in one of the Tetris games. There's some Tetris games that are different. Like when I was a kid, I played Tetris on the computer, and I could get 1,000 lines because of the way it was designed. But if you play like the Super Nintendo or the Nintendo Tetris, you can't because it goes too fast. But she was talking about it, and so and everyone's like, and I was like, I'll play you Tetris. I was like, you won't beat me. She's like, no, I'll beat you. I'm really good at it. And everybody's telling her, you're not going to beat Jason. You're just not. This guy is really good. And finally we played a couple weeks later, and she's like shocked that as I'm bringing the pieces down, I'm flipping them around, and she didn't know you could do that. And I destroyed her, and she wasn't that good at it. And but who cares? It's just Tetris. It's not like it's real life or anything. She's probably doing better than I am at this point because I'm stuck on disability, making the equivalent of like $650 an hour. I used to make $40,000 a year. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, the other things with the channel, yeah, like I want to do tell gaming stories because I have some good ones with like my dad. My dad passed away in 2016, and there's some really good gaming stories with him. And yeah, I started thinking about it. There's just a lot of good gaming stories I'd like to tell. And I've been streaming on the channel I stream from my PS4, and my friend Cody's gonna let me borrow his Retron 5, so I can test it out and see if I like it, because I've never played one of these systems, but I can stream with it on my gaming PC, and I want to try streaming with it and getting that set up so I can play retro stuff. And then I'll probably end up picking up my own. And excuse me. But yeah, I've been playing a lot. I've been playing a lot of newer games, playing older games. I mean, just and I recently picked up a Koudelka and a Valkyrie Profile, as you guys know. That's going to take me another 6 months to pay off, but I had some money put away, and I figured that the prices I got on, because I paid $120 for a complete Valkyrie Profile in really good shape, and I paid $85 for a Koudelka, which is and it's in really good shape. And those games are going for $100 and $200, and it's and it's just one of those things. And it's one of those things I can, if I ever get in trouble financially, I could just sell them, because somebody will buy them and at least give me what I paid for them, if not more. I have one friend he'll buy the Valkyrie Profile right away. He just picked up a Rule of Rose for like $300. I think it was $300 or $350. And I was like, son of a bitch. And I said, oh, well, I got a Blood Will Tell. I actually had 2 of them at one point. And he's like, never heard of it. And then he looks it up, and yeah, it's like the 3rd or 4th most expensive PS2 game. Yeah, it's still fun to find all this stuff. And I haven't been out to buy games at like swap meets and stuff, because it's real hard to walk. About once a year, I'll head out to the swap meet here in town, and I'll go ahead and I'll go find I like raw honey. It's weird because I'm like allergic to pollen, and I'm allergic to I also have a disease or an allergy called oral allergy syndrome, and it's all related to my Crohn's disease and my hidradenitis. They're all related. And I can't eat fruits and vegetables because my body thinks it's bee pollen, so I have allergic reaction when I do. But I can eat potatoes I can eat potatoes and corn if they're cooked, but if I eat too much corn, it causes my mouth to swell up, and I can't I can't peel potatoes raw, my hands get all irritated. And so I've just never eaten them, because everybody thought I was just a picky eater as a kid, but it's because I was having problems. But anyway, I can eat raw honey, like, as much as I want. I love it. And there's this guy down at the swamp meet with a lazy, because I live in a farming community, remember, so I can get primo stuff out here. As far as produce, honey, anything that's natural foods, I can get really good stuff out here. I can buy, we have like Amish butter that they sell. It's like a 2-pound ball of butter that they sell at the grocery store here. And it's real. I get that once in a while. It's pretty good. The Amish know what they're doing with butter. Reminds me of that old Weird Al song, hitching up the buggy, churning lots of butter. But yeah, I pick up anyway. Honey. There's this guy Lazy Eye down at the swap meet, and he's the coolest guy. And I think he was a Vietnam vet, but if I remember correctly. But he tells me, I'd heard that some of the big honey companies, they use Roundup, and Roundup causes cancer, like with the weeds around the honey, the beehives. And I said, do you use any like chemicals around the beehives? He says, the only thing I use is a weed whacker and a lawnmower. And I was like, okay, this is my guy. And he sells 3 pounds of honey for $13, or you can get a small one for like $5. For like 1 pound for like $5. But I pick up a 3-pound thing of honey, of raw honey, and he's got like different types of honey. That he has like orange honey, and he had like this walnut honey. And it's not like it doesn't have walnuts in it. For those of you who don't know, it's the bee. There's like walnut trees by it, and when they pollinate the walnut trees and they make the honey, it has like a flavor to it, and it doesn't taste like walnuts, but it's like darker. It was really good, but he ended up not being able to get that anymore, because I guess he got it from a friend who did honey, and they had a falling out. But he's got I want to say it's honeysuckle honey or something like that. Anyway, it's this really sweet honey he has, and he also has like an orange honey from like orange trees. Yeah, you got to remember out here, like if you like, I live in Porterville, and like the next big town is Visalia. And when you drive from here to Visalia, it's like 35 miles, and you'll see hundreds of fields of just different things. Olives, I mean, corn, olives. I don't see soybeans though, which is no big deal to me. I don't eat soy. But yeah, there's olives. There's farmers markets everywhere, and yeah, you get real fresh stuff here. Walnut trees. There's a whole walnut farm on the way up to Visalia. Anyway, yeah, it's real pretty out here. We get a lot of rain. It gets real green. There's a lake 8 miles from my house, and I never get to go, and I love to fish. And if I can ever get this damn wound and hidradenitis somewhat under control, I'm going to start taking fishing trips in the morning to just kind of see what happens. I used to fish a lot as a kid with my dad, but yeah, everything else is pretty good. We're not like financially dying. My wife's making enough money. I make a little bit of money just because I get my disability check, my very small disability check. But I wish they'd do something about raising that, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I get a cost of living increase every year, and it's usually like $15 a month. It's never enough because my rent went up like another $55 this year. But it's pretty cheap to live here. People talk about how expensive California is to live, but that's just Southern California. I live in Central. I live 45 miles north of Bakersfield. It's not expensive to live here. Like for example, I live in a decent 2-bedroom apartment, and we don't have a washer dryer. We have a washer dryer room. We don't have a dishwasher. Well, we do. You're looking at him, and but we got real good. We have air conditioning. It's real clean here. We got a gated. It's all gated around here. They put gates up years ago. We got a nice pool. Flowers. I mean, everything's kept up real nice here. Got a nice lemon tree outside that you can get lemons from. We got an orange tree out front by the street. And the managers here really take care of everything. But we pay $755 a month, and in 2019, $755 for a decent 2-bedroom, is not a lot of money. And then the thing is, we live on a major street in town. There's like 3 major streets that go east-west, and like 2 or 3 that go north-south, and we live in the middle, one in the middle of town, and small town. This town's like 5 miles by 10 miles. It's not a big town. There's like 50,000 people here, but yeah, it's not super expensive to live here. It's very reasonably priced. Electric and gas isn't too expensive. It's you just got to kind of live within your means, and we never buy cars where we have to make payments. We always just save up and then buy a used car, and you just gotta, I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, but yeah, I want to start doing some streaming with the Retron 5. I want to do some testing and have some streaming nights with that. And if I like it, I'll end up picking up one. I also I've been streaming the PS4 when I feel well enough. I tend to get infections. Or I start to get infections, and then my body starts fighting it, so I'll get a fever for like 1 day, and I'll be completely miserable, and then, all I do is sleep, or I just lie there in agony, so I don't really feel like, and then when I get infections, the wounds start to hurt, and I can't move. It's not fun, and it's one of those things where I just got to find the right doctor with the right method, and I got to keep losing weight, and it's one step at a time, I guess. But my Crohn's is just it's not doing much these days. I still have 2 big old hernias on my stomach from my surgeries back in 2011. They eventually herniated. Can't get those fixed till I get the wounds under control and healed. But I got a doctor at Stanford University that'll fix my hernias. And I got to lose another 60 pounds, which, yeah, if I'm going to get surgery, I'll drop the weight pretty quick. I've always been good about that. But yeah, otherwise, not much else going on. I'm going to do some more videos about just about stuff, different gaming stuff. I need to get better at editing. It's not that I'm bad at editing, it's just that I'm lazy at editing. Because I could do it if I wanted to. It's just one of those things that I'm always lazy about. There's no reason why I should be lazy about it. But yeah, I need to just buckle down and just learn the extra things I need to learn and just do it. Also, there's but yeah, I'm going to keep streaming, like from the PS4. I'll keep streaming from the Retron when I get it. He's supposed to come over tomorrow, so I guess we'll see what happens. Last week, he was supposed to come over last week, but he had to go out of town, so I guess we'll just see if he still comes over tomorrow. If not, then I'll have to wait another week when he can. He lives up in Visalia, so he has to drive down here. But yeah, otherwise, oh, and those of you who remember Freddie, yeah, he got married. He's got a baby. He's I don't see him very much anymore, but we still talk. So, good old Freddie. He's always around, I guess. Or no, he's not around, but But anyway, sorry, I'm trailing off because I'm trying to think of anything I'm forgetting. Anyway, if I forgot anything, I'll do it in the next video. Anyway, guys, I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.